I didn't start learning English until 7th grade. I was from a small town in China. The education quality was just not that high back then. It once took me 30 minutes to read a single page, and now I can read freely and fast. No beginning is too humble. Wherever you are today, whether it's 100 days before an exam or 50-year-old trying to learn English from the beginning, it doesn't matter. As long as you work consistently with the right method, you will bear much fruit. Without further ado, let's dive in to the magical world of fun English reading. Today, I will share 3 useful methods and use Harry Potter as an example. Before Harry got the Hogwarts letter, he had to endure tough experiences living with the Dursleys. Likewise, we have a few trials to go through before becoming a fluent reader. The first trial is vocabulary. Inevitably, the more words you know in English, the easier reading becomes for you. Here's my method number 1. Make connections. For example, the word memorize. It reminds me a lot of mom and rice. I would make a story that my mom asks me to memorize words while eating my rice. Now that sounds exactly like my mom. #Asian parents. That story is so memorable, I would never forget the meaning of memorize. I have to say I used that method, got near 100 in my vocabulary quizzes in high school, beating all the American classmates. Therefore, I highly recommend this method. It's extremely good for short-term memorization. Now, it's not enough on its own though. You need to pair it up with another strategy. Therefore, leading into my method number 2, repetition in context. Abundant research has shown if you repeat a word 7 to 20 times in context, you can fully grasp the meaning of the word and the usage of the word forever. By experience, I found this method extremely helpful. Let's look at a sentence. Harry looked at a pile of Christmas presents with a look of astonishment. Say if you don't know the word astonishment, you can consider the context. We know Harry is abused by his aunt and uncle. He never had any Christmas presents in his life. Now his cousin Dudley got piles of Christmas presents. He of course is like amazed and shocked. Therefore, you might have guessed the word astonishment means amazement and surprise. Hence, this method can be well supported by reading English content. At the end of the video, you will find my book recommendations for different levels of English learner. The second trial we have to go through is sentence structure. I had a stage that I understand every single word in a sentence, but I just can't understand what the sentence means. It doesn't make sense to me. I read it again. It doesn't make sense. If you had the same struggle, I recommend my third method to summarize long sentences. Let's look at an example. You now pause the video and give it a try. Here is my summary. Nothing suggested things. I would have my subject, my verb, and my object in it. Now, if I wanted to add a little bit more meaning for the sentence, I would say nothing suggested that strange things would happen. It's just adding to my object, so it gives a little bit more context. Now, how did I come to that? When that whole sentence is basically a description of the time. That's not the essence of the sentence. After nothing, we have an about, something outside. Says a little bit about the location. Strange and mysterious are just adjectives. The last part also would soon be happening. Those are description for my object. Now, I'm no grammar expert, so I could be making mistakes. This method has been extremely helpful for me, especially when I first start reading long sentences. We gotta have a plan, honey. I'm a very J person, so here's my plan for you to read every single day just for 10 minutes. I guarantee you, if you read consistently for 10 minutes a day, you will see a huge improvement. Come back and comment and let me know. Use the first 5 minutes to read as fast as possible. You can guess the meaning of the words. If you don't understand them, just guess them based on the context. You can mark them, highlight them. Now use the next 5 minutes to come back and look up those words. In terms of resources, for beginner levels, and by beginner, I meant if you know fewer than 2,000 words, I recommend 2 apps. Number 1 is Duolingo. It has a story function in there, so you can go in and read some English stories in there, which I found it super helpful and interesting to do. Another one is Langster. I use it to learn my German. It has mini stories from A1 to C2 level. So for beginners, you can do A1, A2, even to B1 if you want. It's really easy to use to look up words, to translate, so on and so forth. For intermediate level, I highly recommend few books. Number 1 is the Harry Potter, of course. It has a fun twist plot. You have the momentum to keep it going and you wanted to know what happens next. Lots of movies to follow along. You can watch the movie first and then come to read the book. Then you have more context. It will be easier to read for you. I recommend Old Man and the Sea. Wow, my favorite book of all time. Just beautifully written. Hemingway. He has this very unique way of writing. He's one of my favorite authors of all time, and that book is so short. That book is so thin. I remember reading that book. It is awesome to read a short story. It gives you a sense of accomplishment when you finish it. Another one I recommend is Ender's Game. It's a science fiction and it has a movie to go along. A few more. The Alchemist, very fun one to read. I read it in high school. Charlotte's Web, timeless classic. I don't have any specific recommendations for my advanced readers. The world is your oyster, but I will have some book reviews coming soon on this channel to share some of the books that I'm reading recently. So stay tuned. If you haven't already, check out this video on how to improve spoken English by simply watching Friends. Don't forget to subscribe. It will mean so much to me. It will keep me going. See you in the next video. Cheers!